At least one person was killed in Mykolaiv in overnight Russian attacks across Ukraine as Kyiv announces a significant operation targeting a major Russian oil pipeline.
Tens of thousands of people gathered in Novi Sad to stage a commemorative rally to mark 1 year since the railway station disaster.
At least one person was killed and more than a dozen were injured in the southern Ukrainian region of Mykolaiv after a Russian missile struck a civilian area overnight into Saturday. Authorities suspect, after initial investigations, that the strike, which targeted a petrol station and civilian vehicles, was a ballistic missile attack. It comes as Russia continues to launch heavy daily strikes on Ukraine, despite global calls to instate a ceasefire and engage in peace talks. The Kremlin fired a barrage of 223 drones in the early hours of Saturday, with around 140 of them Iranian-made Shahed strike drones. Ukraine's Air Force says it was able to successfully intercept 206 of them aerially before reaching their targets. Meanwhile, Ukraine's main intelligence directorate announced a strike on the Koltsevoye oil pipeline, one of Russia's biggest, responsible for supplying millions of tons of paraffin, diesel, and petrol to various regions. Kyiv says 3 sections of the 400-kilometer-long pipeline were destroyed. Hamas has returned the remains of 3 more people, the Red Cross said after it transferred them over to Israeli authorities late on Friday. The bodies are now being examined by forensics experts to determine whether they are the deceased hostages Israel seeks. It comes after both Israel and Hamas carried out exchanges on Thursday, with the Gaza-based group returning 2 more bodies who were confirmed to be hostages. Israel has also returned the bodies of 30 deceased Palestinians to Gaza, who it took during its 2-year offensive on the enclave. Doctors in Gaza, however, are struggling to identify the bodies due to a lack of access to DNA kits. So far, Israel has returned the bodies of 225 Palestinians, only 75 of which medical professionals were able to identify and return to their families. Hamas has in turn returned all 20 living hostages and 17 of the 28 deceased ones. Israel says 9 of the 11 dead hostages still in Gaza are Israeli nationals, with the remaining 2 being Thai and Tanzanian.
Tens of thousands of people from all over Serbia gathered in the northern city of Novi Sad to stage a commemorative rally to mark 1 year since the railway station disaster. On the 1st of November last year, a renovated concrete awning collapsed at a train station and killed 16 people. The rally is also seen as a display of discontent with President Alexander Vucic's rule. Ahead of the rally, momentum has been growing in support of the opposition's calls for major changes in the Balkan country. Vucic has threatened mass arrests if mourners resorted to violence and has also tried to downplay the expected size and importance of the commemorative opposition rally. People are expected to gather in several separate rallies throughout Novi Sad. This tactic is believed to make it more difficult for police to intervene and arrest participants.
The Latvian parliament voted on Thursday to withdraw from the Istanbul Convention, a treaty that opposes domestic violence and violence against women. Nevertheless, the country would still be obliged to apply parts of the treaty, even if its exit is finalized, the European Commission has said. This text on preventing and combating violence against women and domestic violence is signed and ratified by 39 European and Central Asian countries. As the EU joined as a whole, the treaty is legally binding for all EU member states, the Commission said on Friday. For a Latvian NGO, the Istanbul Convention led to major improvements.
For the first time, we have created the National Action Plan on Alleviating Violence, which is a 5-year plan. For the first time, we have introduced the definition of sexual harassment in our law, which did not exist until November last year. We have improved our criminal law. We have included emotional abuse into our criminal law.
The European Commission has yet to comment directly on the vote. It says, however, that it wants to wait until the national process in Latvia has been completed before doing so. Latvia's exit from the treaty is currently pending approval from the country's president.